Sailor Earth, Ernest here, or Ernest P. Worrell here, and today we're going to talk about SOS, Save Our Sailors, or Keep Our Sailors, which was a team of Sailor Moon followers who, worked together either on the interweb or off the interweb to help keep Deke Sailor Moon around. Now, right after UPN and WB were done with Sailor Moon due to bad watch time and bad looking, which was most likely brought on to them putting it on at times in the morning where folks were still asleep or folks were getting up. So no one was really watching that show. And Save Our Sailors, or Keep Our Sailors, or SOS team, they were the ones that started a website on the interweb to get folks to, and even if you didn't have the interweb, they would seek ways, to get around folks who wanted to get Sailor Moon back. And it was their hard work that got USA and later on Cartoon to pick up Sailor Moon. Now, even though SOS was beloved by some folks in the Sailor Moon followership, it was hated by others who did not like Deke's take on Sailor Moon and thought that SOS, should work, should have not worked hard to get that Sailor Moon back, believing that they should have worked to get the Viz one that we have now out. But sadly, that was the only English take you had on Sailor Moon at the time, besides the ARE Sailor Moon, which only had one saga to its name, and there was really no way no one was going to see that until years later. So you're wondering, how did they do it? Well, they also kept in mind they'd back up Pop-Tarts, or whoever made them at the time. They would back up General Mills, who at the time was making Pop-Tarts, and I guess they still do. And would help, they would buy those. And by doing so, they would help back that business, so then they could also back Deke and also back USA and Cartoon for showing time on the Folkworks. And it was a lot of hard work. They did do what they had to do. They called up folks. They went to meet with folks. They also had a website, and it did work out because USA took on Sailor Moon in between 97 YL, but only ran it for a year and a half until new ownership and leadership felt that drawing shows of any kind would not work on USA anymore. And later on, Cartoon taking up Sailor Moon and having a longer broadcasting with it from between 98 YL to 2003 YL when they let the deal go. Now, at the end of the day, the Sailor Moon followership is always going to be half and half. One side liking the Deke and Pioneer work, the other side hating the Deke and Pioneer work and loving the Viz work, and then folks in the middle who either liked all three of them. Now, keep in mind, the SOS team, if it wasn't for them and doing what they needed to do, it would have been less likely for Sailor Moon to even been picked up by any other folk work. And yes, some folks in the Sailor Moon followership who don't like the Deke and Pioneer Sailor Moon at the time did not the Deke one. The Pioneer one wouldn't happen until some time later. Who didn't like the Deke one at the time would, scave SOS for backing up the wrong Sailor Moon. I don't really think that SOS could have gotten the the unclean, unshifted, Sailor Moon that Viz got the rights to work with now. Now, a lot of folks out there, I really did onlook SOS for Save Our Sailors or Keep Our Sailors team for what they did, because it was only a wonder that it worked. Yeah, they could have done the website, they could have called folks, they could have done everything they could have done, they could have chose to back up the businesses that were buying showing time, at that time. They could have done all that, and it could have not worked, but luckily it did. Luckily, all that work pay yielded off, and USA and later on Cartoon ended up picking up Sailor Moon. Also, don't forget the SOS or Save Our Sailors or Keep Our Sailors also helped, to help YTV keep Sailor Moon because YTV had dropped Sailor Moon in the Setterland around the same time that UPN and WB had dropped Sailor Moon in the 4-1 Reich. So it wasn't for that, I don't think anyone would have saw that Sailor Moon, or at least saw the lost sagas of Sailor Moon. So at the end of the day, love or hate SOS for what they did, but I think that they did something that was good. Now, before I end this film, there might be someone out there who thinks, well, didn't SOS work hard to get the last following of Sailor Moon, Sailor Stars? Yeah, they did, but unlike the first time around where they've gotten USA and Cartoon to pick up Sailor Moon after UPN and WB were done with it, there was no way that they could get any folk work to want to do anything with the fifth following, due to the grounds that Toei was not dealing it out for anyone after that. Because Toei had put all their Sailor Moon things on lockdown after the Pioneer deal ended in 2003 YL. So it would have not worked. So tell me, what do you think about SOS, Save Our Sailors or Keep Our Sailors team? Did you like how they how they did all of that? Did you like all of their hard work that they did to get USA and Cartoon to take Sailor Moon up again? Or were you one of those folks in the Sailor Moon followership that didn't like SOS because they were wanting to get the Geek Sailor Moon back on Farseer folkwork businesses, and they didn't like that one? So what was your stance on that? I, Sailor Earth, Ernest. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Farewell.